Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Brahma Mirastra Parantakare Bhanushashi Bhumi Suto Budasha Gurusha Shukra Shani Rahu Keteva Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu. Om Gurave Namaha. Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of KozmicKev100. This is your weekly astro video zine where we take the planets, known as the grahas in Sanskrit, their aspects and how they're going to be affecting you day to day, week to week, based on your sun sign, rising sign, moon sign. If you know all three, apply it and see if it works. I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and to share it with friends. Hit the like button, the notification buttons. I welcome your comments. Keep them coming. And thank you. Anyhow, this is for the week beginning the last day of September, September 30th, 2022. And looking at the sky today, I'd see that first, that quarter of the moon or whatever, sliver of the moon coming on in the constellation of Scorpio. And the part of the sky it's in is a lunar mansion that's known in the Vedic astrology as Anurata. So in the sidereal zodiac, which I talk about when I do the moon every Friday when I get on here to do this. Anurata is ruled by Saturn. And Anurata's ruling deity is Mitra. Mitra is the god of light. And one of the first things when I do a salute to the sun, the first mantra for the salute to the sun is Om Mitraya Namaha. That means friend to all. Mitra is a friend to all. He's god of light. And this is where the sun, when the sun's in that side, even though it's shrinking and diminished, it somehow gets re-empowered again in a way. The symbol for Anurata is the lotus. Now, the lotus blooms in the mud. The lotus, when the dry season comes about, it withers and it casts its seeds in that mud. And then the monsoon comes again. And then everything starts to grow. And just as the water's subsiding, then this lotus blooms beautifully. And it really indicates this nature of transformation in the sign of Scorpio. Now, moon's debilitated in Scorpio. Okay. And this is Vedic astrology part we're talking about, which is sidereal with the constellation we're looking at. And so why is that? Because Scorpio is a really creative sign that deals with both creativity and desire. And we don't create things unless there's a need. We don't desire things unless there's a need. Taurus is where the moon is exalted, and it's about satisfaction. I got everything. Everything's cool, baby. I'm a Taurus. And it's like, some people are like, But yeah, we come up with this innovation. Now, when Krishna was like 16, he would play the flute and at night, and he was like the hot young teenager, and the other young women really loved him. And there was one woman named Radha that loved to hear his flute playing and loved to hear his wisdom shared. So Anurata has like this connotation with that kind of beauty. And any of the Saturn-ruled nakshatras, because Anurata is a Saturn-ruled nakshatra, so is Pushyama, and so is Uttara Bhadrapada. All of them really fulfill nakshatra destiny in a good, positive way, because Saturn deals with our vata qualities. And so dealing with our spiritual essence is part of what this moon is about, and we're in a waxing moon period. We can put our best foot forward, and the lotuses are things we give to our gurus and our teachers to honor them. We put them on our altars. So, think about this that we're going to a place of honor and a place of like listening to God's voice, Holy Spirit's voice, whatever you're reckoning with that as we go through this week. So there's no real super major changes that I see this week, but you know, might as well just review just in case there is a planetary shift of some sort into another sign. Yeah, outside of the moon, folks, well, let's see. I'm not really seeing anything coming up for this week that's gonna, you know, be mind-blowing or whatever. I mean, you know, Jupiter continues to be retrograde. And Jupiter's going to go back into Pisces in Western astrology in a couple of weeks. This is going to be, it'll be in Jupiter in both systems. This is going to be incredibly empowering. Whenever a planet goes retrograde, let's remember, Mercury's retrograde, but Mercury goes direct on Sunday. Yay! And what time? Well, it happens at 2:07 a.m. So basically late Saturday night, early Sunday morning while most of us are asleep. Mercury goes direct. We wake up Sunday morning with this like fresh and refreshed consciousness. I think the moon will be a Mula Nakshatra. That's also like another significant nakshatra, starting us on that Jupiter path, starting us on this fresh start of depth and eliminating ignorance and getting to the root of things. So I just sense like we are on the brink of something amazingly positive and amazingly happy this week for all of us, regardless. So in Western astrology, of course, moon's in Sagittarius, all right, and will be tomorrow as well. Sunday we'll have a Capricorn moon. So sign by sign, here we go. Beginning with you, Aries. Greetings, Aries. Welcome to your horoscope. What a gift it is to have Jupiter in the first house transiting right now. There's really good people coming into your life. There's people demonstrating generosity and many acts of kindness. These acts of kindness will never be forgotten. You know, even if somebody seems unconscious and they're not doing necessarily the right thing in every way, I mean, the acts of generosity sort of override everything. They create good karma for you. You know, and so I'll be really honest with you, Aries. In the Western zodiac, you have sort of a bad rap to overcome. They're like, really? Who, me? Well, yeah. And they're like, well, why? Well, because you're known as being selfish. You know, you're known as being the baby of the zodiac, and so in a lot of ways, the most prone to ignorance in that sense. But in a way, there's a positiveness there, because Zen mind is beginner's mind. And the problem is when we don't realize our capability of destruction, because Mars can, you know, get angry and cause all kinds of destruction, and there's a limited sphere as far as what other people needs. I mean, babies generally don't help other people, you know, except for Mars. In Vedic studies, when Mars was a baby 7 days old, he killed a demon. He's like, okay, we're not having this. Because really, Mars' purpose is to get rid of evil. And when you're looking at it on those terms, you know, like a good sheriff or a good soldier or sailor is on a mission to help cooperate and protect other people. That should be the purpose. Also, a good farmer, because Mars is also Lord of the Earth, taking care of the Earth, to be environmentally concerned and to bring forward and bring forth a love of the environment. That's another one of Aries' sacred missions. Now, Libra's your partnership sign, and we're in partnership time, and we've got Moon and Jupiter together this weekend. This is going to be a lovely weekend. I can feel it, and you're going to find harmony. Amidst the obstacles you've faced and will face again, there's going to be harmony, and there's going to be this greater sense of love as we go through the week. And I feel like you're going to be rewarded. Fine time that's going to be. All right. Greetings, Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay. You know, Uranus makes things unpredictable. And I mean, I've heard that, well, from evidence from what I've seen, yeah, Uranus and Taurus is rough. You see, it's kind of like Uranus runs on electricity, and it's an exciter. And Taurus is the groundation, man. It's like, I don't want to be excited, you know? And sometimes when the excitement is there and there's all this electricity and things, there's a sense of blaming, that we could scapegoat others for our own problems. People are unwilling to embrace. I mean, I know a lot of people, like during like the pandemic and stuff, they're still there, man. They have never left. They're in their house, they're masked. They don't, they don't want to acknowledge that the virus is actually getting weaker in spite of the mutations and the weird, bizarre sci-fi shots and all that stuff. I mean, it's hard to believe that you could have been betrayed by your good intentions. That's, and there hasn't been apologies for the misinformation. In fact, the very people that gave misinformation are saying, oh, we're going to protect you from misinformation. I mean, that's just like, oh my God, who's calling the kettle black now? Just hold your horses. You know what? All of us, including myself, I have been deceived by others. I have been given into deception. We're humans, and this is part of our life experience. And even you, Taurus, I noted a lot of Tauruses I know, they have this idea like, oh, I'm a person that's never done anything wrong kind of thing. And I'm like, what the heck? Are you serious? Come on now, be real. Venus now in Libra, it's sort of like that's your 6th house. So there's like a little bit of obstacles at love. There might be a gal that you're working with in the office. You feel like she's causing you trouble, and you just like, be loving to your coworkers, even though it's a difficult time. Stay in the loving path. Don't submit. Don't repay violence with violence, mistreatment with other mistreatment. That just makes you a reactionary and not the best person you can be. Greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope. Well, I mean, Gemini, you got all this courage. You got Mars in the 1st house. You're moving forward and you're pioneering new things. Sun's in Libra. This is your 5th house. So like your heart is open. You're wanting more love in your life. You're opening up yourself to more love. And things are good. Mercury is back in your 4th house. So you're kind of mulling over in your mind a lot of things that happened in the past. And I get it. When you have a tragic situation that really hurt you in the past, I think it's tough to let go. Because you want to learn something from that mistake so you can move forward. And sometimes we're just not sure. What other elements do I have to be aware of that led to that situation? Well, I can think of one where I knew, but this person was so clever and so reassuring, But, you got to go back to that gut feeling. Something is wrong here, and don't, and sometimes you've committed yourself and it's just like, no, I'm not doing this. I could do this instead, and a lot of times the best thing to do is pause and get guidance. Pause and get guidance. That would be my recommendation if somebody's being deceptive in any way, because, I want you to keep your assets. And here's the good news, Mercury's going direct this week. Yay! And so, slowly but surely, we're going to work our way out of whatever mess has happened over the last 3 weeks. All right. Well, greetings, Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope. You probably want to know, when is Mercury going direct? Well, Mercury goes direct, I think about 2 in the morning on Sunday morning, the 25th. I mean, not the 25th, I mean the 2nd of October. 2 in the morning on the 2nd of October, a little after 2. Mercury goes direct, or a little before, sometime, So yeah, I think it's like 2:04 a.m., something like that. Okay. Pacific Daylight Time. For us West Coasters, and I've had people tell me, Cancer, because you're kind of like tribal and family oriented. Like, oh yeah, Southern California is so different from Northern California. Well, if you've really lived in California, there's like about, 5 or 6 distinguished regions. Even San Diego is somewhat different from Los Angeles. But I would say because Los Angeles is such a big city, and because of Hollywood having such a major influence in the entertainment industry, that there is sort of this bleed over where there is cultural sharing. I've also seen surf culture, like the valley accent that I have is also kind of a common accent among surf culture. And I've heard that accent as far north as Half Moon Bay. It's because of surf culture. You know, surf culture spread. I think it originated really in Hawaii, but somehow California, even Santa Cruz, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Of course, the ocean is warmer, and San Diego, Orange County, the water starts it feels good. I mean, the water there in the wintertime is often warmer than it is in Humboldt. Speaking of water and Cancer, so what is this deal? Well, I mean, Libra's about being home. You're the home sign. You're the sign of parents. You're the sign of patriarchy and matriarchy and lineages and honoring our elders. And that's really what your duty is this week. I mean, that's the big deal. Moon is going to be in Sagittarius, sixth house. I mean, there's going to be some obstacles this week. I think when the moon goes into Capricorn Sunday, Monday, that's going to be your kind of like your bubble for romance and negotiating what you need. But things might be a little bit rough until the end of the week, and just so just keep your cool. Let other people have their power, move forward. It's all going to be okay. All right. Greetings, Leo. Welcome to your horoscope. Now, Libra time is about your third house, and it's a place where the sun is debilitated. I said this last week. Well, I'm a Leo. I can't be debilitated. Well, the whole deal is here is cooperating with others. Can't be the center of attention. In fact, just giving massive love to everyone around you and showing appreciation. This is your best strategy to resolve things with siblings. Like, can we bury the hatchet? Can we get over what our differences are in a proper way? Now that Mercury's direct, or at least it will be as of Sunday morning, can we move forward in a light of forgiveness, in a light of love, in a light that takes us to a better place, a place where we're not in a place of feeling disturbed, and things will, you've got a little bit of a window, probably Wednesday, Thursday, things will be feeling a little bit better for you, but just, it's going to take some continual effort. And that's the one nice thing about a third house transit, is that effort gets rewarded. It's an upachaya house. And so this is where we make improvements. All right. Greetings, Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope. Only 2 more days of Mercury retrograde. Yeah. Well, Mercury's back in Virgo, though, and it's close to us still. So it's like you're really feeling you've got some good information to share with the world. It's really hard to. When you tell somebody you might have made a mistake here, they don't want to hear about it. They're like, oh, I had this one guy. He was like probably one of the most paranoid, COVID, pro-vaccinate, whatever. And he's in pretty much denial that anybody had a reaction from the shot and they're that sick. I mean, Dr. Malone, the man who invented the mRNA vaccine, said he felt like he got a reaction from it. He gave himself the shot. So, I mean, if you are saying I follow the science and whatnot, first of all, one thing you need to know is that there's paid for science that's peer reviewed. That means that there's a lot of economic money and grants that are given to colleges and things that to say this looks good, these are the results we want. That's sad. I know. It's kind of bumming you. You mean that I know? Fact checks on computer? No. These are also owned by the, what do they call it? That particular rhythm, the logarithm or something. Can't even say it right now. This must be Mercury retrograde. The algorithm, that wants to direct you into economic investment in what's going on. So you have to go other places. Sometimes you're going to have to get on BitChute or Rumble or something like that in order to see how much censorship there's been, and just that money often validates whether information is true or not. You know. And so as a Virgo, you have to see that. Yeah, I met this Virgo gentleman. He couldn't, you know, he couldn't believe it. You know, he was super scared from the beginning, and here we are 2.5 years later. He's super scared forever. He's lost in that. You know, and I think, well, sometimes we mistake fear for caring. Fear is not caring. Fear is the mind killer. Real caring is courage. It takes courage to step into another belief system. It takes courage to see what other people's points of view are. And I have a lot of compassion for people and their points of view. But the only thing, it's hard for me to have compassion, is when you take command over people's bodies at loss of a job, at threat of their income and livelihood, at threat of their family's health and well-being. If you participated in that, I think you deserve to apologize to other people. That's all. You know, apologies aren't that bad. But like Mark Twain said, it's easier to get people to admit. It's easier to fool people than to get people to admit that they were wrong. And so Virgo, that's where the money is. Honesty. And making things right with your family, making things right financially, giving to others, being transparent. Well, greetings Libra, and happy birthday to all my Libras this week. I want to give a big birthday shout out to Maggie Berry. He's turning 64 today. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Oriol, who I believe is turning 34 today, or tomorrow rather, on the 1st, and to Brent Clark, who is, I think he's turning 56 on Sunday. And to my friend Jeffrey House, who's also turning 56, I think this coming Thursday. And to all of my friends, and Piuli. Yeah, Piuli's having a birthday tomorrow. And I believe she's turning 38. So all my righteous tropical Libra sun sign friends, you know, out there celebrating with you. Venus in Libra now, so it's bringing more love and beauty, a sense of ease, a sense of relaxation, a sense of humor, all that coming to you. Mercury in the 12th house now, still retrograde, you know, until Sunday morning. Pay attention to those dreams these next couple mornings, you know. I bet some of you had some really interesting dreams. They have messages for us. You know, pay attention to those messages. It's not always easy, you know, to write them down. Sometimes getting up a little early can help with remembering dreams, but most of them fortunately are mundane and they don't mean that much to us, and that's good, you know, because we don't want our consciousness all disturbed. We want to feel good, and you know, you're the flavor of the month. Like I said, the next 3 weeks are yours, basically, completely, and enjoy them for all they're worth. Greetings Scorpio, welcome to your horoscope. You know, I don't usually talk about Pluto that much for Scorpio because it's an outer planet. The far outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, I mean, they're mostly, like, Greek astrologers don't use them, Vedic astrologers don't use them much, but they're mostly about our social experience and our collective experience. So they don't really relate as well to us personally. Now, Pluto's been transiting your 3rd house forever. And you know, 3rd house is the house of our siblings. It's a library. It's how we do our artwork. It's how we communicate. I mean, I'm a 3rd house Lagnisha. I'm someone with the Western astrology, a stellium in the 3rd house. So in some ways I'm almost like a Gemini because of that. But, and of course Scorpio with Mars in Gemini right now in the 8th house. You too will act in some ways Gemini-like, but for you it's like getting information on the occult and on magic. And like, one of the biggest magics you can do is to have a gratitude practice. Perfect love casts out all fear. When we're grateful, it really creates patterns in our mind. When we make it a habit, a gratitude practice, I thank you for doing this. I'm so grateful that this is like this. Seeing the good everywhere you go. It actually makes more improvements than finding the bad. And we're hardwired to find the bad, you know. Pluto in the third house is about improving relationships with your siblings, I'd say primarily. It's also about transforming whatever kind of art practice you have. If you have an art practice, working with your hands, allowing yourself to have the mindset of someone between 14 and 21, like, oh wow, the world's for discovery, I want to check this out, I want to do that. You know, that age of just passion and, you know, kind of like throwing caution to the wind. That element is also in the third house. But, you know, now that Mars is in the eighth house, it's kind of deep. And it's also, eighth house is about other people's power. And, you know, like, what we have to guard ourselves against is jealousy. And really, I'm grateful that somebody's doing well. Because if anybody's doing well, it actually means that they're less dangerous to us. And so I have to be grateful for all the props that people got, you know. I've yet to get a prop in the News and Review as best astrologer in Chico or anything like that, you know. In some ways I feel like, oh man, you know, or good songwriter or any of that kind of stuff, DJ, you know, and I thought, man, I'm left out of the equation. I'm invisible. You know what? Sometimes being invisible is a blessing. And so I'm grateful for everyone getting acknowledged for all the good they've been doing. And I see so many friends getting acknowledged, and I appreciate that they're getting acknowledged, because these are people I know and I love. All right. Greetings, Sagittarius. So this weekend was meant for you. You know, Libra time rules your social life, so this is a good party for you. This is a good opportunity for you to meet people. This is a good opportunity for you to have a little bit of R&R. Maybe take a little vacation. Maybe go into a place of discovery. There's certain ways people are that are annoying. I could be one of those people. I could be annoying to people at times. Now, I can be annoying to myself at times. But then practicing grace. I'm working on having more grace. I'm working on being a better listener. I'm working on allowing other people's passions to shine through, even if it's not something I'm interested or know about. If I could just sit back in peace and observe without any fear. Just like the Buddha, when the charging elephant came, he had immense compassion for them. And eventually the elephant felt that compassion and laid down at his feet. When the demons were firing fiery arrows at him, he was able to say, these are just flowers coming to me at my feet. There's so much beauty here. Transforming our thoughts, transforming the ways we look at things. And you're going to have a good, I mean, this is going to be a good week for you. I really sense that. You know, I could see you making some more money on Sunday and Monday, and as we even get into Tuesday, you know, making new friends, you know, working on your creative talents as we get further through the week, Wednesday, Thursday, and yeah, you're going to be in your feel-good spot, you know. We all could use a little feel-good every now and then, right? You know, Jupiter in your fifth house, loving your kids, Neptune in the fourth house, just having like a little altar of your spiritual practice. It's going to help. Greetings, Capricorn. Welcome to your horoscope. You know, Saturn's in the second house, so it's always about things that are built to last, owning things that are built to last, establishing justice in your family, being fair to everyone, giving everyone something, you know. I mean, it's like, probably if you want to prepare for the holidays now, and you've got all your gifts picked up right now, you could go through the whole holiday season without any stress. It's like, hey man, I've honored people, and if there's something else you wanted to adjust to, it's just like, it's no big deal. You know, so I've been really like, I see this time as a preparation time, gather your nets. I remember last week I talked about how Libra time for Capricorn is about your karma with the world, you know, and so, you know, be a more pleasant part of the workplace. Bring more joy, bring more beauty, maybe bring pictures of nature if you've got a little office desk space. Do things, plants, things to beautify if you're allowed to, you know. You know, some guys like to bring pictures of beautiful women into their space, as long as, you know, everything's appropriately dressed and covered up. You know, some people are even offended by that, you know, because of objectification. And for some reason, because there's like it's a little different kinds of responses in the world of like sexual response of females and males. It's not all the same, and people that claim that, it's, you're fairly ignorant of how things operate in the real world. I'll be really honest with you. It's not just capitalism, folks. It's biology, people. People do things. Nature always bats last, and if you're going to be fighting nature, you're going to be having problems. And that's even if you're a Capricorn. And some people suffer so much that they do fight nature because it just seems like the only way they'll get better. And that's okay too. I mean, like I said, I don't have anything against prosthetic arms or legs. It's not easy to grow those things at this point. But I think it's just a matter of you finding your inspiration and identifying with this, I'm destined to bring more inspiration to other people. And that I want to bring this forward. And all those really cool artists I mentioned last week, like Elvis and Jimmy Page and David Bowie, it's like, hey, it's even Janis Joplin. Come on, let's give some props, to the sisters here. Okay. Greetings, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. I mean, so ninth house is the house of the father, it's the house of the teacher, it's the house of the guru, it's the house of foreign travel. So, I mean, if you're an Aquarius rising especially, this would be a great time to travel. I mean, Aquarius sun, that works okay. Aquarius moon, sure, it's going to work even better too. I mean, the way I rate it is rising sign first, moon second, then your sun sign. And people are all about sun sign. Oh, well, all Aquarians are, oh, spare me for 1 second when I see those like ratings by sun signs that people post on Facebook and Instagram. It just makes me want to puke. They're like so shallow and ignorant. And they're obviously favored by people that don't know a lot about astrology. I'll tell you, folks, to be a good astrologer, it takes 30 years of observation, basically. And you can do that as a young person if you go back in history. But generally speaking, there's no experience like living experience. So, say you start at 15 as a serious student. Well, by the time you're 45, you'll be hitting it. You'll be hitting your stride. I think it's a little more common people starting 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe even as late as 25. And so, somewhere in your 50s, and there's this certain kind of wisdom that happens at that age too, as women get into menopause and men are less lusty, and we see what's coming up next. It's like, oh my God, everything, our time is limited, so we want to make it the best. We want to save the best for last. We want to do the best for last. And for you, Aquarius, I like the way the planets are like all over the chart right now, so there's so many opportunities. What I see is that making friends with people that have spiritual values, that's going to be a reward to you. I mean, I've heard long distance relationships seldom work out, but I've heard about ones where people really deeply fall in love and they make it happen, and you might be one of those people that could make it happen. So I'm not gonna discard anything. I live in a world where miracles begin and they exist, and I want that miracle for you. And if you've had, like I said last week, if you had a bad relationship with your father, he's still alive, and you could possibly make peace, work on it. And sometimes you have to do the prep work, and the prep work is going into meditation and praying about it and moving things metaphysically. You can't move everything physically with your words or actions direct a lot of times. Sometimes you have to do this other kind of healing work. And some people think, oh, that's just nonsense. Well, you haven't entered into the zone then, I guess, because I know it's not nonsense. Or at least it doesn't. Maybe I don't know, but I've convinced myself it's not. Greetings, Pisces. Welcome to your horoscope. I mean, Pisces doesn't usually discount anything. I suppose I've met Pisces that are doubters and prefer to be, agnostic or proud atheist, which I actually think is a belief system too. I say places where people are atheist, where they allow freedom of religion, those places seem to be fine. But places where atheism is official religion seems pretty terrible, you know. See, People's Republic of China, North Korea, Albania, Soviet Union, maybe to a slightly lesser degree, but still, no. I mean, they propagandize kids. If they renounce their belief in God, they got a little red scarf, they got a little status thing. Think about this. Think about how recently we gave status to people that did an experimental medicine on themselves. I mean, there's cultural patterns here, and you know, people say, "Oh no, KozmicKev, that's different." Da 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 da. Oh, it's always different, friends. It's always going to be different because we get clever. We get more clever as humans as we go on in how to control people. That's the sad part, you know. We often get in a place of denial when things don't work out the way we planned and they don't support our narrative, you know, of what we first learned. And that is really... But when we can be flexible and go, you know, that didn't work out so well. Let's, you know, accept everybody. Let's be inclusive of everybody. Give everybody the same rights and freedoms to choose. I think we're in a better direction then. I think that's what we want, most of us. And I think Pisces is like one of the most accepting, understanding signs in the zodiac. Jupiter is bringing you wealth. Neptune's bringing you spiritual wisdom. Saturn's telling you to have discipline, to have good karma and a spiritual practice. Pluto's saying maybe you need to change the friends you're with. If you've been drinking too much and that's all they do, you need to get a new set of friends. That's all. And this week is a good weekend for volunteer work, helping others. Pay attention to your intuition. You're getting big messages, and you know, Mercury's exalted, so if you don't feel you're smart enough, rely on those who are smart and with differing opinions on things, and that way, in a place of diversity and debate, we'll come up with better answers and more empathy for everyone on both sides of any equation. I so appreciate you being with me this week, and I'm looking forward to doing this again with you. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification button, share this video with a friend. You know, if you had some entertainment or you enjoyed something, you learned something, thank you so much. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om